it takes it to a whole other level. So what I'm doing here is I'm using an overhead scrim. Okay, I've got this 72 by 72 overhead scrim, which is just a diffusion panel, a one-stop diffusion panel, because I'm shooting this midday sun. Okay, and that's what I wanted to talk about before, is that you can't, as a business, you need to be able to shoot all day long if you need to. You don't want to just be relegated to certain times of the day when you can shoot on location. So you need to come up with ways and mechanisms to control the light, to control the sun, and to create the light that you want. Scrims are a great way to do that. You block out the sun, and you only let the softness come through. So you're creating a big, large soft box with the sun, and that's, again, midday sun. And then camera left, I've got a 3-foot octodome, a photoflex octodome, with a Triton flash, and that's like a 300-watt second flash unit. And I'm powering it through, and I'm just, popping it through, popping in some fill light. And you can see I've got some beautiful catch lights there, but a very natural and balanced exposure. Okay, and basically what you're looking for, you want to be about 20 to 30% of the exposure should be from your flash, and you can do that. You can use I think it's the Sekonic L358 or 758. The top end Sekonic flash meter. Forgive me, I'm spacing out on the model number, but it's the top one. That one will allow you to do an average for you to take a reading and see how much of the light is coming from your ambient and how much of your light is coming from your flash. So you can judge it. And I think between 20 and 30% is a good place to start for a natural, balanced-looking ratio between the two. All right. The other thing that we didn't even get to talk about, which I really want to hammer home again and again, is because it's sort of like a no-brainer. You must take your flash off the camera. That's the after natural light. That's the next thing that you need to do, is get your flashes off the camera. Off-camera flash is going to take your location and flash photography to a whole different level. That simple step will just skyrocket your images to a whole different place. And then you'll dial in exposures and you'll find your technique and stuff. But that one thing will help you tremendously. And I'm going to talk about some really inexpensive ways for you to do that at the very end of the presentation, because I don't want you to have any excuses or think that you can't do it. You absolutely can, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, another one light plus. Here's what I used here. So I used a Photoflex 72 by 72 diffusion panel up above, the Triton flash, the Photoflex 3-foot octodome, and of course a little teddy bear to keep the baby happy and on point. All right, here's another one light plus scenario. So this is using one light plus open shade. So the open shade, again, coming back to that open shade theory, is going to give us that beautiful even light. And then we can use a fill light to pop in and add modeling where we want. You can see we've got some modeling happening on the left side of Lauren's face. We've got a sculptural element. We're chiseling her face. We're creating facets and modeling. And we have a little punchy light coming in from the side. So that's one of the great things about open shade, is you can really pop in additional fill lights. And this is just one light. This is the Alien B. I think there's just a reflector. There wasn't even a softbox on this yet. The light ended up being really beautiful and soft. One other thing that you want to bear in mind is that regarding quality of light, and this is a little counterintuitive, and this is something you should repeat to yourself over and over again, as I had to do, and I've learned this, is that the closer the source, the closer the light source is to your subject, the softer the quality of the light is going to be, okay? And the further away the light source is from the subject, the harder the quality of light is going to be. So think about it. The sun is a massive light source, but it's so far away that the light that it produces, with direct light, is really harsh. Midday light, when it's directly overhead, so harsh and not pleasing at all, okay? But if you take a 5-foot octobank and you put it really close, just out of frame, the quality of light is so beautiful and so soft. It's just really surprising how much a difference it really makes. Okay, so again, the size of the light source and its distance from the subject. You want the biggest possible light source you can get, and you want to be as close as you possibly can to your subject for that really, really soft light. Now, you may not want soft light. Maybe you want hard light, but at least you know the rules. You know how to achieve those things. So if you want hard light, move your light source back. If you want soft light, get that light as close as you can and get your modifier as big as you can, okay? All right, so 2 lights as 1 plus. So what do I mean by 2 lights as 1? Well, when I'm shooting with speed lights, I want as much power as I can possibly get. So using 2 speed lights, I gang them up together, is going to give me a very portable solution, but it's going to give me the power that I need. And I'll go anywhere from, I'll do 4, sometimes I'll do 8 speed lights at one time using various brackets and connectors. Or 4 and 4 if I'm doing a 2-point light. So this is just one light. I wanted to show you, or 1 point of light. I wanted to show you how you can create really compelling images just using 1 point of light. And you could do this with 1 speed light, okay? But I did 2 ganged up together, fired into an octadome, a Photoflex octadome, 3-foot octadome on a paint pole. And I'll show you another image that I used for that. I used this one down at Fort Point for an engagement session. That's just 1 point of light. Again, it's 2 flashes, but you could use 2 speed lights, but you could use 1. And the light source is over on camera right. And again, using that paint pole. So why use 2 lights as 1? Okay, the more speed lights that you're going to use, the more chances you're going to have of overpowering the sun. Large studio strobes have a lot of power, and that's why people like to use them on location, because they're going to really allow you to overpower the sun if you need to. But that said, many times, 2 speed lights, 4 speed lights can really do the trick for you if the sun's not super duper bright and you're not in a completely backlit situation. Let's see here. Faster recycle times. You're going to get much faster recycle times the more speed lights that you use, because there's less power that's being drawn on from each of those flashes. So consequently, you're going to have longer battery life, and you're going to have a much bigger studio quality light. Instead of a small quality of light, you're going to have a big, powerful quality of light that you can work with, and it gives you a much more of a studio look. Okay, so here's what I used for the setups that we just looked at, for the pictures that we just looked at. I used a 3-foot Photoflex Octabank, or Octadome is their name for it. And then I used an MFX bracket. This is made by a guy named Elvis Parr. His company is EP Designs, and I have the links for you on the next slide. I used a Casey paint pole adapter to attach this whole rig to this paint pole down here on the right-hand corner. And then you could use radio poppers or pocket wizards. I used radio popper. I think for this I used the PX system, which is their manual system. You could also use, for these I use the PX system. Now let's talk about that for a minute. Radio triggers, when I'm working in situations where I need maximum flexibility, I need to be able to move around quickly, which would be weddings and engagements, and many times a lot of location work where you're not going to be in a static position, where you're not going to be in one place for a given time, and that's it, and you're set up and you're just kind of shooting that location. If you're going to move from place to place, ETTL is fantastic, because and then that would be the Radio Popper PX system or the Pocket Wizard Flex system. What those systems are going to do is allow you to maintain a connection between your speed lights and your camera, okay? So, but the speed lights are off the camera, so it's wireless. And you're able to just move around wherever you want, and you're able to really still get a great exposure. And then you can employ ratios if you want to or exposure compensation using your camera to control the quality of the light. If it's too bright, if it's not bright enough, that sort of thing. So all of this is happening wirelessly. Yet the camera is figuring out a lot of those complex exposures for you, and you don't have to be fussing with dials and making your clients wait and kind of dragging down the energy of your session. So I love ETTL for that. And if I'm in a more static situation, then I might use a manual trigger like a Pocket Wizard or a Radio Popper Junior. All right, so that was 2 speed lights, a 3-foot Photoflex Octadome, the MFX bracket, which actually holds 2 or 3 speed lights. So I used it with 2 in that. The Casey paint pole adapter, Radio Popper, which has 2 P's, not 1, or the Junior X triggers, and the Shoreline paint pole. So I'm going to leave that up. Sorry for the misspelling, guys. So you can copy down these links, and URLs, but just do it real quick because I have some extra ground to cover. Leave that up for a minute. Yeah, TTL is just a fantastic mechanism for location work, and I encourage you to check that out. And I'm going to show you a really inexpensive way to achieve TTL at the end. So don't think that you have to spend all sorts of money right up front to start working with your speed lights off camera. All right, shooting through things is another really, really great technique when you're working on location. You can see here this picture of Sal Sincata, my buddy Sal, and his wife Taylor. This was at their wedding that I shot in Vegas. They did a Rat Pack themed wedding. If you are looking for great business coaching, you should definitely check out Sal from BehindTheShutter.com. He's excellent. He's done a lot for my business and a lot of other people's business. Great guy, great friend, and a great business mind. So shooting through things, again, it creates very, interesting looking images. It creates layers, it builds interest, and you feel like you're only seeing part of the scene, that you're looking at just a small bit of it, that you're looking at a kind of a cropped version of what's happening. So it just makes it seem like life, like there's more going on outside of this one little snippet. Like if you were to just move this window around, you'd see other parts of what was going on. So I like to shoot through things. I think it really is a great technique for creating more, layered-looking images. Change your vantage point. That's another really great technique. So you can see here again on the image on the left, I'm shooting through things. But this time I'm shooting from the second story of a flat in San Francisco. And I'm shooting down at the subject because I'm creating a very different vantage point. And that is interesting looking. It's different looking. It's not the way that people are used to seeing in the everyday. It's not. We're all used to seeing from our eye level and seeing straight on. And frankly, I mean, those images are kind of boring. They're kind of commonplace because people are so used to seeing them that there's nothing different about them. There's nothing exciting or compelling about them. So the minute you change your vantage point, like if you're shooting animals, get down low to where they are. Shoot where they are. If you're shooting and you want to have create a heroic look, like for these groomsmen. So that's Sal and his groomsmen, and we went to the vintage graveyard, the sign graveyard in Vegas. I got down really low and shot up at them to make them look bigger than life and to really create a dramatic, heroic kind of pose. And the same thing with this image on the right. I got down really low. I wanted something really fashionable and really different and exaggerated. I wanted to exaggerate the Kessie's legs and just the whole vibe of the photo. So you can see how just changing your vantage point really helps to create compelling and different looking images. Okay, so think about fashion and style when you shoot. You want to pay attention to the lines and the shapes of the bodies that you're working with, and you want to be playful and you want to be fun and encourage your clients to do the same. Have fun with it. Don't be afraid to ask them to do things that are a little sexy. Obviously, you want to keep it classy, and you don't ever want to do anything to compromise or embarrass your clients. But, the clients are willing to really do a lot as long as they feel comfortable with you and they know that you're on their side and they know that you're a trusted advocate in their corner. They'll do a lot, and they'll be fun and playful. So be open to surprises also. Like this truck